Hello, this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I have a video that I am actually surprised that I haven't made yet. As funny as that might sound, I was meditating the other day just on, what my next video was going to be, and I thought of this concept and I was like, whoa, like I can't believe I've never made a video on this before. So I know that the title sounds a bit hyperbolized to say that this video is going to change your life forever, but to be honest with you, I actually think that it's true, and I don't think that about a lot of things. I do think that generally speaking, there are certain tools and techniques that are going to work for certain situations and that are going to work for certain people and not for others and things like that. But this video, this tool that I'm going to give you today, I fully believe will work for absolutely anybody who applies it. And I believe that it can literally transform pretty much any situation that you're in that you don't like. And so this video is really important, and I hope that a lot of people see this, and I hope that a lot of people think about this. So, the number one question in your life that you can ask yourself that can help you transform any situation, and that is literally anything from something that's going on in a relationship that you're having, something going on in your work, something going on in your physical body, in your physical self, in your mental and emotional realm. So this question is, ready? What am I making this mean? Okay, so this question, what am I making this mean? It has so many implications, it's not even funny. So the first thing that I want to say about the what am I making it mean question is this question is to be used anytime you're in pain. Anytime you're in emotional pain, anytime you're having a thought that's causing you pain, anytime you're having a relationship issue that's causing you pain, especially to be used when you have thought patterns or negative thought patterns that are cyclical. So to illustrate this point, to make it the most clear that I can, when I was first starting my recovery from anorexia, there were a lot of thought patterns and beliefs that I had, okay, that were causing me to stay sick. So no matter if I was eating properly and I was wearing clothes that made me feel good, and I was having positive body image talk about myself, and I wasn't like reading fashion magazines or doing any of these kind of things, I was still caught in these negative thought loops where I was incredibly horrified and ashamed of gaining weight. I was like terrified of retaining water or being puffy and like gaining weight essentially. And this went on for years after recovery. So not just like the first 6 months or whatever when you would assume that that's normal, that you're horrified of gaining weight when you're anorexic, but like years later when I had recovered the weight and I had been at a recovered weight for several years, I still was like horrified of it, and I still hated how I looked and how I felt. And when I first kind of got onto this idea of like, why is this so painful? Like, what is it about having weight on my body that is so horrifying for me? That I started to understand that it actually didn't have anything to do with the weight at all, right? It wasn't the weight itself that was making me so unhappy. It was everything that I was attaching to having weight on my body that was so painful. It was everything that I was making having weight on my body mean that made it so painful. Okay, because I thought there are a lot of people out there who weigh way more than I do, and they're fine. And there are a lot, and I would hang out with friends who were, like similar body size, body shape to me, and all of them had no problem. Like, I would notice that they felt comfortable in their skin. They weren't thinking about their body all the time. They weren't adjusting their clothes all the time. They weren't having such a negative, constant berating of their bodies over and over and over again all day long, every day. They weren't horrified to look at themselves in the mirror, and they were, like I say, in a very similar physical shape and state to me. Yet I was, like I say, horrified essentially at my body. And I was like, okay, so what's the difference? What's going on here? Why are they able to be at that weight and be fine with it, and I can't? I'm horrified. And it basically came down to, I had attached all of these, like I say, negative meanings onto my body. I had made having weight on my body mean that I was worthless. I had made having weight on my body mean that I didn't deserve love, and I wasn't worthy of having the things that I wanted, and I wasn't worthy of even like doing the job that I wanted to do, and being the person that I wanted to do, and doing the work in the world that I thought I wanted to do. Like, I literally had made my body mean that I couldn't live my purpose because of the body that I was in. And when I realized that, I was like, holy crap. Like, no wonder this is so painful. It's because it's not actually about the fact that I have weight on my body. It's about the fact that I'm telling myself that I'm not deserving of love and I can't live my purpose until I lose weight. Like, that is a huge difference, right? And the biggest thing that I realized is that because it didn't matter how many people told me I looked fine, or, you know, I checked my BMI and it was normal, and I could fit into clothes that I liked, and whatever, like, it just, there was no placating the fear, there was no placating the anxiety, there was no placating the torment that was going on, and it was just a loop that went around over and over and over and over again, right? Like, this constant fear of putting on weight, this constant fear of putting on this weight, or the constant drive to try and lose weight, and there was just no solution, right? And so when you're dealing with a problem in your life, and it's painful, and there's no solution, right? So you're swirling around it over and over and over again. It's painful over and over and over again. So this can be something in your relationships, like someone is doing something to you over and over again, and there's just no resolution. You can't get to a place where either, you know, you've fixed the relationship, or you fixed how you feel about it, or you have, you know, confronted it so that that thing doesn't happen anymore. If you're having these swirling thoughts about your work, right? Like, this is just like this constant, like, what if I get laid off? 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 Or, right? Just kind of any of these things any of these thought patterns that you have that are painful, repetitive, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of solution, you need to ask yourself this question: what am I making this mean? Okay? Same thing in relationships. Say someone says something to you and it's really hurtful, and it doesn't look like they understand why it was so hurtful for you. You need to ask yourself, what am I making this mean? When someone does something in a relationship over and over again, and it's really painful for you, you need to say to yourself, okay, what am I making this mean? And then you need to tell the person, like, when you do this, I am interpreting that you are doing it because of this. Like, I am making it mean this. So for an example, say your boyfriend always comes home late, and from work, and it really bothers you. It really makes you feel awful every single time he comes home late from work. So ask yourself this question: what am I making this mean? And say it could be, I'm making this mean that he values work more than he values me. Or maybe I'm making this mean that he doesn't want to be with me. He'd rather stay at work. Like, he doesn't want to hang out with me because he'd rather be at work. And so you need to decide what it is that you're making it mean. And then in your relationship, you say, hey, boyfriend, when you stay late at work, I'm making it mean that you value your work more than you value me. And is this true? Right? And so then your boyfriend could be like, holy crap, no, nothing at all. It's not like that at all. It's this, this, and this. But if your boyfriend is just constantly coming home late from work, and you're just yelling at him, or you're just getting upset, or you're giving him the cold shoulder, or you're brushing him off, or you're just like constantly getting upset but never telling him why you're so upset, it's difficult to actually solve that problem. And so the biggest reason that you need to ask this question in your life, especially in repetitive, painful circumstances, is because of perception. Okay? So we all believe that what we are interpreting our situations to be is what everyone thinks. Okay? So this is why it's so painful. So you might, like I say, for instance, your boyfriend stays late at work, you are making that mean that he doesn't love you and he loves work more than he loves you. And you don't even consciously go through those mental loops of figuring out why it's so painful, because you believe that everyone believes this the same thing as you, right? So when he's staying late at work, you just automatically assume that he also knows that when he stays late at work, he's saying to you that he loves work more than he loves you. We all agree, because what I'm perceiving or what you're perceiving is what we're all perceiving. But the truth is that we all have these individual perceptions that almost always have nothing to do with anybody else, right? So going back to my example, not everyone who's like at the weight that I am at feels like the world is crashing down around them, right? Or like they can't live their purpose because they're carrying an extra 10 pounds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was something that was totally and completely individual to my consciousness. And when I realized that, first I realized that, holy crap, no one else is thinking this, which is like a huge relief for me. Like, wow, okay, that's actually quite relieving to know that no one else is looking at my body and thinking these things. And then second thing, since I was making my body mean all of these things, that means that I can choose to make it mean something else, right? And that is the real importance to this question, is when you ask yourself, what am I making this mean? And you realize all of the painful things that you're making your circumstance mean, you can start to then adjust your perception so that you can either heal those wounds that are going on around you, because like I say, a lot of the times we make things mean things in a painful way based on, you know, our childhood traumas or the things that happened to us in our past, like, you know, making my body mean all these terrible things because I had all these terrible experiences with my body. And so when you realize what it actually is, that is when you can actually do the healing. So this is the main point of why asking yourself, what am I making this mean, is so powerful, is because first you can understand what you're making it mean and why it's so painful. And second thing is you can only heal the actual issue, right? So me changing my body weight didn't ever heal the actual issue of what I was making my body mean, right? So I was addressing the topic, so changing my diet, changing my workout, trying to do all these different things, and never getting to a place where I felt peace until I understood that it was because I was making it mean all these other things that I needed to address those issues. And that's where the healing happened. So does that make sense? So the more you ask yourself, what am I making it mean? You find the root issue so you can actually solve it, rather than just going around in this loop over and over and over again, never being able to actually fix the problem because you're not addressing the problem. Okay? So the question that will change your life, anytime you're in pain, anytime you're in emotional pain, anytime you're in mental pain, anytime you're in relationship pain, anytime anything in your reality is painful, what am I making this mean? Okay, and last thing, this does not mean that you accept abuse from anyone or anything. Okay? So that is a big just caveat to this question. If people are abusing you, if someone is abusing you, if anything like that, this isn't so much that, okay? So that, like, those are situations you need to say no, that you do not accept abuse, you do not receive abuse. And you could ask yourself, like, what am I making this mean? Like, why am I accepting this abuse? Why am I allowing this abuse to take place? What do I believe about myself that says to me that I should stay in this situation where I'm being abused? But what I'm saying is that you're not asking yourself this question to kind of say, you know, the person that's abusing me, it's not their fault. What am I making their abuse mean? Well, okay, that's a different thing, okay? So just to put that out there, if you're being abused, this question doesn't work. But if you're just in a normal situation, in a normal circumstance, or things inside of yourself that are constantly going on, what am I making this mean? and then tackling that real issue, because again, understanding that we're not all perceiving things the same way. And when you discover what you're making things mean and you talk to other people about it, it's going to be fascinating for you. Okay, so if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. Find me on Instagram, Urban Fruit Bat, sorry, Facebook, Perception Trainers, and I'll see you in the next video.